Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nightmare Collective. I'm Chris. Thanks for stopping by and watching my review for Sick. Alright, so let's get right into it. This is a Kevin Williamson co-written movie for the streaming service Peacock. It was okay. I actually thought the movie was fine. I didn't, I literally just finished watching it and I was like, you know what, I'm getting ready to go to the gym. I took my pre-workout, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and film my review. I want to get my thoughts out before, I'm taken over by testosterone and hormones, and like lifting weights with the bros, I got to get all that out of the way. I like a lot about it, but I also think a lot of it is kind of, how should I say this? It misses the mark in some aspects for me personally. So while I think the conceit of the movie is pretty interesting, we're dealing with a real world pandemic, and so I like that aspect of it. Now Get Out, this is not like a biting social commentary. It's more of like a nibble. You got a little nibble, in your eyes and in your ears. You're like, okay, what's going on? Well, it's just a little bit of social commentary. That's what's going on, but not a lot of it. Like I said, we have the setup here, which is very Scream-esque in the beginning with our first kill, and you're like, well, how does that kill feed into the rest of the movie? And we do find that out, and I think that's where, like, I kind of have my problem with the movie, is that I like the middle of the movie a lot. It's very like home invasion, very slasher centric, and I really like that part a lot. But when you find out why these things are happening to this specific person, I was like, oh, and I'm not saying it's poorly written, so don't get this misconstrued. I'm not trying to be like ultra negative here. I don't think it's a bad movie by any means, but I just don't think that I personally didn't like their conceit for the movie. I thought it was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's why we're doing it. And there's some very interesting things right before this, at the very end where you're like, they come across a woman who's driving a car, and that whole interaction I thought was really well done, and I was like, oh, I didn't expect this to happen. But it's just after that, it kind of went downhill for me a little bit, because I was like, okay, I'm expecting something, with what you fed me throughout this movie. I like what's happening so far. I didn't like the overall like resolution of the story, because even though I had these characters, I don't particularly like the two characters that we follow in the movie at all, and I don't like the people doing the thing. I'm like, this movie is full of sociopaths, and maybe that ultimately is the commentary. I'm not saying that it's not there, I'm not saying that it's not well done. I just think for me, like, you can have that concept, and it can be on the page, and it can be like so accurately executed, like in everything you do, but then when it comes across on film, it can just be kind of middling, which is what it was for me at the very end. Now we're talking like the last 15 minutes kind of just fell apart for me, but other than that, I really liked it, man. The kills are awesome. Especially, we get very few of them, but there's a character named DJ, his whole kill sequence I thought was pretty rad. I liked all of that. So as far as a slasher goes, all of the slasher elements are there, and I liked all of those. For me, it was just kind of the COVID conceit that I thought could have done more, in its execution. Like I said, not bad, just not amazing. So that's pretty much all I've got. Like I said, this is streaming on Peacock. I definitely think you should check it out. I'm not saying it's a bad movie, and that's what I want to get across here. It's not a negative or positive review. I just kind of think, for me, I'm in the middle of the movie, I might watch it again later this week to kind of see if my thoughts change, but I really don't think they are. Most of the time, if I don't like a movie or I think it's middling, I tend to maybe appreciate more aspects of it, but that usually doesn't change. It's usually movies that I'm like, oh, I love that. Those tend to fall for me, or like I love them even more. But movies that I'm kind of like in the middle on, typically I don't tend to hate them after that, and I don't usually end up loving them after that. I kind of have a good first instinct on movies that I specifically like personally. So let me know down below, have you seen Sick? Are you gonna watch Sick? Did you even know Sick was coming out? In our community, we all know who Kevin Williamson is, but outside of that, I wonder, I'm like, does that name represent anything? Because like, my mom doesn't know who Kevin Williamson is, but when I told her, I was like, oh yeah, he's the guy who wrote Scream, she was like, okay, honey. But that was it. So like, your average person kind of going on Peacock, are they going to watch this? Are they not going to watch it? That's what I'm curious to see, you know, going forward. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours down below. That's all I've got. I'm going to link you some videos here so you can continue the journey with me. First, I'm going to link my Ouija 4K review that recently just came out, and it's kind of a video just saying, like, hey, should you upgrade this? And I have a little bitty rant about Scream Factory packaging, so you can check that out. It's a fun time. And then over here, I'm gonna link my horror confession that I recently kind of confessed to the world. And that's gonna start a new series that I'm super excited to start. Hopefully in the next week or so, I can get that rolling, and that's gonna involve kind of everybody. So once you watch that, definitely go check out my community tab. I've got a little poll up there that revolves around that, but I don't wanna give it away. You should watch the video. All right, that's all I've got. Thanks for stopping by. If you like what I do, consider becoming part of the collective, and I'll talk to you guys soon.